What is James Harden historically his biggest knock, his biggest criticism?
The playoffs, maybe?
Correct. I do think that being intentional to start the games well but also finish, especially in your first game, was huge. It wasn't just James Harden, it was also Donovan Mitchell, because a lot of eyes are going to be on Don as well. Because you make this move, you say, all right, you get 10 years older, but maybe that's better, a little bit of seasoning, a little bit more experience.
James Harden's second game as a Cavalier came against the Denver Nuggets on the road. And this was no ordinary matchup. Cleveland was without Evan Mobley, while Denver was the same team that knocked Harden's Clippers out in Game 7 last season. A game where Harden managed just 7 points. This time, though, the story was completely different. Harden exploded for 22 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 blocks, then came through when Cleveland needed him most, drilling a game-tying three-pointer with just 32 seconds remaining. Cleveland ultimately walked away with the win. And suddenly, the trade that had everyone questioning the Cavaliers doesn't look nearly as crazy as it did before.
Harden now, leaned on by Hardaway. James Harden goes to work, step back, got knocked down, nothing called, but Harden buries the three, and we're tied at 117.
The Cleveland Cavaliers just traded Darius Garland, the first real piece of their rebuild. The player was there before the hype, before the expectations, and before the playoff runs. For a 36-year-old James Harden, at first glance, it looks completely insane. Another franchise panic move. The kind of decision that could set a team back half a decade. But that's not what this is. Because behind this trade was a countdown clock. Donovan Mitchell's future was becoming uncertain. The roster had stalled. And Cleveland had reached a point where simply running it back wasn't enough anymore. Whether this trade works or not, everything just changed in Cleveland. Before we get into what Harden brings, you have to understand what Cleveland was actually dealing with. And the Garland situation was far more complicated than most people realized. Drafted 5th overall in 2019, Garland became an all-star before Donovan Mitchell even arrived. He was supposed to be the foundation of the franchise. Then Cleveland added Mitchell, and suddenly, they had 2 guards under 6 feet 3 inches sharing the backcourt. And that came with real consequences. Last season, when Garland was on the floor, the Cavaliers posted A+9, 9 net rating asterisk, over 290 non-garbage time minutes. The offense was elite, nearly 10 points better than their opponents. The defense was nothing special, but it was solid. Here's where things get interesting. When Garland sat for more than 1,300 minutes, Cleveland actually got better. Their net rating jumped to +12. 0 asterisk. The offense dipped slightly, but the defense took off. Cleveland was 7. 2 points per 100 possessions better than its opponents defensively asterisk. And the individual combinations made the picture even more revealing. Garland and Mitchell together, +9. 3, Garland without Mitchell, +10. 5, Mitchell without Garland, +12. 9, the trend was impossible to ignore. Every version of this team defended better without Garland on the floor. Then this season, the numbers got even uglier. With Garland playing, Cleveland posted a 118 defensive rating and was outscored by 3 points per 100 possessions, the worst mark among Cavaliers with at least 500 minutes. At that point, the data was screaming. Garland had become a defensive liability, and not just within Cleveland's rotation. His size and defensive limitations were becoming a problem at the highest level. Then there was the size issue. At roughly 6 foot 1 inch next to Mitchell at 6'2", Cleveland had a backcourt combination that history has rarely seen win championships. The Garland-Mitchell pairing worked during the regular season. They won games. The offense looked explosive. But when the playoffs arrived, the weaknesses became impossible to hide. Every year, the same defensive problems showed up again. For every advantage those 2 undersized guards created offensively, they created another problem defensively against elite playoff teams. Playing 2 small guards made everything harder, and that imbalance played a major role in 3 straight postseason disappointments. Then came the availability concerns. Garland's injury history stretches back years. Ankle problems in 2021, a back injury in 2022. Then 2023 brought hamstring issues, a neck injury, and a fractured jaw that required surgery and left him on a liquid-only diet. The 2024-25 season was actually the healthiest of his career. He appeared in 75 games. But even that didn't last. A toe injury followed him into the playoffs, where he aggravated it against Miami after undergoing off-season surgery. The problem carried into the 2025-26 season and limited him to just 26 games. So when Cleveland's front office reportedly sat down for what insiders described as an unemotional, no-excuses assessment in the weeks before the deadline, the conclusion became difficult to avoid. And then there was the biggest issue of all, Donovan Mitchell's future. His contract expired at the end of next season, creating a very real sense of urgency. Mitchell loves Cleveland. He has said that. But he also wants to compete for championships. And if Cleveland couldn't build a roster capable of competing at the highest level, he would have every reason to consider his options. So the Cavaliers made one of the most polarizing trades in franchise history, Darius Garland and a second-round pick for James Harden. Once you lay out the entire problem, the Harden trade stops looking completely crazy. It starts looking like a calculated gamble, a move Cleveland believed it had to make. Because this wasn't simply about replacing Garland. It was about changing the identity of the entire roster before the championship window closed. Harden is now on his 6th NBA team across 17 seasons. He's 36 years old and coming off 2.5 seasons with the Clippers. And at this stage of his career, there's one question everyone keeps asking. How much does James Harden actually have left? But here's the thing. Everywhere Harden has gone, he has continued to make teams better. And Cleveland may be betting that there's still enough left in the tank to make this gamble worth it. Cleveland believes James Harden gives them their best chance to compete right now. And if you look beyond the name and the age, there's a real argument behind that belief. Let's start with production. Harden is averaging 25, 4 points and 8, 1 assist per game asterisk this season, compared to Garland's 18 points. He also helped lead the Clippers to a 15 for a stretch over their final 19 games together. Yes, Harden is past his prime, but he's still producing at a star level. Just last season, he received MVP votes and earned third-team All-NBA honors. More importantly, he's been available. Harden played 79 games last season and appeared in 44 of the Clippers' first 47 games this year before being rested ahead of the trade. Compare that to Garland. Cleveland didn't have him for 25 of their first 51 games, and last season, he missed 4 of the team's 9 playoff games while dealing with that lingering toe injury. Then there's the size. At 6'5" and 220 pounds, Harden immediately changes the math in Cleveland's backcourt. Neither Harden nor Garland is an elite defender, but Harden's size gives Cleveland something Garland simply couldn't. A bigger body that can actually work within defensive schemes. Teams targeted Garland because they knew they could attack his size. He struggled to contest bigger guards and wings. Harden can't magically become an elite defender overnight, but at 6'5", he can at least hold his own against most guards, and even some forwards. And that size matters offensively, too. One of Cleveland's biggest problems earlier this season was a lack of rim pressure. They didn't have a guard who could consistently get downhill, absorb contact, and finish at the basket. Instead, there was too much side-to-side movement, too many pull-up threes, and not enough pressure on the rim. The Cavaliers ranked just 16th in attempts at the rim. Harden changes that immediately. Even at 36, he still possesses that rare combination of strength, touch, and stop-start control that allows him to manipulate defenders, create angles, and get to the cup. This season, he ranks 9th in drives per game at 14, 8***, while his shot profile and finishing numbers show he can still consistently get to and convert at the rim, and that alone addresses a major offensive weakness. Then comes the pick-and-roll game. Cleveland hasn't traditionally been a heavy pick-and-roll team, but with 2 strong bigs and Harden running the show, that could change in a major way, because Harden has been one of the league's best pick-and-roll operators for more than a decade. You can see it immediately in his debut when over Sacramento, 23 points, 8 assists, but even those numbers didn't tell the full story. Harden was constantly delivering the ball to rolling bigs at exactly the right moment. Jarrett Allen, Jalen, Tyson, Craig Porter. He handled traps calmly, absorbed pressure, waited for the defense to commit, and then release the ball at precisely the right moment. By the end of that game, it was becoming obvious Cleveland wasn't just adding Harden. They were beginning to build a new offensive system around what Harden does best. And that momentum carried over just 2 nights later against a much tougher opponent, the Denver Nuggets, on the road, in a hostile environment, and without key big man Evan Mobley. Yet the new-look Cavaliers pulled out a gritty 119-117 victory. Harden was once again at the center of everything. He knocked down the game-tying 3 with 32 seconds remaining and finished with 22 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists. Perhaps most impressively, he added 3 blocks, showing another dimension that his size can bring to Cleveland's defense. Harden, Mitchell, and Jarrett Allen combined for 76 points, proving they could carry the team to a win against one of the league's best opponents. But Harden's impact goes beyond his own numbers. He also changes how opponents have to defend Donovan Mitchell. With Garland and Mitchell both under 6 feet 3 inches, opposing defenses felt comfortable sending aggressive doubles toward Mitchell. They knew Cleveland didn't always have the size or playmaking to punish those rotations. That changes with Harden. You can't simply leave James Harden open. And if you decide to double Harden, he's more than capable of making you pay. That could give Mitchell something he hasn't consistently had in Cleveland: space. And the numbers show just how dependent the Cavaliers have been on him. This season, Cleveland posted A+6. 6 net rating with Mitchell on the floor, ***. Without him, -3. 3. When Mitchell sat, the offense often collapsed. Harden gives Cleveland something they desperately needed in those minutes: a legitimate offensive engine who can create quality shots for himself and his teammates on virtually every possession. But there is one major question hanging over all of this. Can Harden and Mitchell actually fit together stylistically? Because Cleveland plays a motion-heavy, transition-oriented system under Kenny Atkinson. Harden, meanwhile, has spent much of his career thriving in slower, isolation-heavy offenses. Somewhere in the middle, they're going to have to find a balance. Both sides will have to adjust. But Harden has done this before. He coexisted with Chris Paul in Houston. He shared the floor with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant in Brooklyn. He understands how to play alongside other ball-dominant stars. And Kenny Atkinson doesn't seem worried. As he put it, great players fit together. When you have high IQ players, figuring out the details becomes a lot easier, and it appears Mitchell and Harden are already on the same page. According to Tony Jones of The Athletic and Chris Fedor of Cleveland, the two spoke at length the night before the trade was finalized. By the end of that conversation, both reportedly believed this was something they wanted. Mitchell made that clear publicly, that, like during his Brooklyn days, Harden can embrace a secondary role when another explosive scorer is better positioned to take over. And Cleveland didn't stop with Harden. The front office also moved Andre Hunter, Lonzo Ball, and 3 second-round picks, while bringing in Dennis Schroeder and Kean Ellis. Suddenly, this roster looks completely different, deeper, more balanced, and much more dangerous offensively off the bench. Schroeder is a proven veteran. He has been traded 8 times, but that has never been because of a lack of production. Teams have consistently viewed him as an offensive catalyst capable of changing the second unit. The Lonzo Ball experiment simply didn't work the way Cleveland hoped. The shooting disappeared. His three-point shot fell off dramatically, and without the elite athleticism he once had, getting to the rim became increasingly difficult. Schroeder addresses some of those problems immediately. In Sacramento, he averaged 12, 8 points and 5, 3 assists ***. He can create his own shot. He can create for others. And he brings international winning experience, having helped Germany win a FIBA World Cup title and a Euro Basket Championship. Then there's Kean Ellis. He's more of a wild card, a 26-year-old, undrafted 4th-year wing. But there's one thing you can count on: defense. Ellis ranks in the 95th percentile in blocks and 96th percentile in steals among wings. He's also one of only 2 players in the league averaging at least 2 steals and 1 block per 36 minutes this season. He makes life miserable for opposing guards. Offensively, he's still developing, but he can shoot. He's a career 41% three-point shooter and is knocking down 36, 8% from deep this season. That combination of defensive pressure and floor spacing is exactly what Cleveland's bench needed. And now, with Donovan Mitchell entering his prime in the Eastern Conference seemingly wide open, Cleveland has made a very clear choice. They're sacrificing some future stability for a legitimate chance to win right now. Pairing two players with this level of production and experience gives Cleveland one of the most dangerous backcourts in the league. And the message from the front office is crystal clear. They chose winning now over waiting. Cleveland isn't being patient anymore. They're going for it. This Harden trade isn't just a roster move. It's a declaration. Cleveland is telling the rest of the league that they're serious about winning a championship. They're done waiting. Done hoping everything magically works out. Done running the same experiment and expecting a different result. The pieces are finally in place. Now comes the hard part. Because having the pieces and actually winning with them are two completely different things. So now I want to know what you think. Do the Cavaliers have a real chance to make the finals this year? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss more deep dives like this.